Majority of entrepreneurs aren't broke because they lack skill. They're typically broke because they're scared to actually talk about making money. People who never talk about anything important are slowing you down. Watch who avoids real conversations. If someone only talks about drama, opinions, complaints, one day ideas, but never talks about execution, money, or directions, they are a distraction. Imagine this: if you never talk about your future, you'll stay stuck in the present. Most people are reacting, but they're never building. You got to step back and be like, who is actually building something worth value? Who is actually putting in the work? Who is actually focused on the destination that they're trying to get to? When you start to have important conversations, force questions like this: where is this going in 1 year? 3 years, 5 years? What does winning actually look like? What does a winner actually operate like? If they are never talking about the future, then there's no future focused action. You have to think about this. The people who move the fastest talk in timelines, not emotions. They don't care about drama. They don't care about politics. They don't care about other people's opinions. The only thing that they care about is how can we move forward? How can we make more money? How can we get more leads? How can we post more content? More is better. And if you're not having these type of conversations with your network or your friends, you need to sit back and think and be like, okay, this guy never talks about money. He always complaining about his relationship. He always worried about somebody else's lives. But why not talk about your life? Why not talk about the current situation? Why not talk about the future? How can we get out of this rut? How can we make more money? How can we elevate our skills? How can we become valuable to society? That's the type of conversations that you need to have, and that's the type of conversations that I want to have. Once you're able to fully control who you have that's in your life, life gets so much easier because now you have everybody in your circle that's on the same type of framework and the same type of frequency that you are on. Imagine this: you and your boys, you're talking about money, y'all talking about sales, y'all talking about building a personal brand, and then y'all are coming up with the offer and a product, and you're only focusing on one skill, one thing. Imagine how much work that you can get done. Imagine the improvement that you will see in a year's worth of time. Look at that timeline. What do those conversations look like? That's what I'm saying. People who have nothing going on, their conversations are pointless. They're wasting time. They don't talk about shit. Literally, I see it all the time. People come up to me, hey man, you won't believe what my baby mama did. I don't care. I've gotten to the point where I've gotten not necessarily rude, but I've gotten straightforward to where if you're not talking about anything that doesn't relate to me business wise or self-development, personal development, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to even listen to it. And I'll tell them straight up, man to man, look a dude in his eye and be like, hey man, I'm not trying to hear none of that. Then they object, like, oh, what do you mean? Blah, 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 blah. I'm not trying to hear it. Now, if you want to talk about something real, we can. But other than that, I don't want to hear about nothing that doesn't pertain to the task at hand. If you want to take control of your life, you have to take control of your surroundings. You have to set boundaries, and you have to stand on these certain type of principles in order to make the right steps forward. A lot of people waste a lot of time and energy on conversations that do not matter. Who cares about if the government shuts down? Who cares if they cut off food stamps, okay? Who cares? That doesn't affect your business. That doesn't. The government was shut down and I was still posting content on my social media platforms and I was still making income. The government is not your problem. Your problem is your lack of skill and your lack of focus. You have to be able to focus. You have to be able to control your life. And some people cannot control their life. That's why they pay coaches and they pay people in order to hold them accountable. Some people need life coaches because they can't even coach their own lives. They have no structure. They have no backbone. They're scared to speak their minds. They're scared to have those important conversations. And what's cool about this video is this works for every level. You could be an entrepreneur who's just now on the grind. You know, you're coming up with ideas. You're figuring out how to sell your offer, how you want to show up online. And then you can make the next step to where you could be a business owner and you have a sales team. And then you need to be able to have those tough conversations like, hey guys, we're not meeting our quota. I expect better of you and I want the best of you, and you're not operating how I want you to operate. You need to have these type of discussions because guess what? Someone who is a high performer, they're going to come in and they're going to motivate and influence everybody around them. That's what good talent does. Good talent is hard to come by. So once you have good talent, you have to protect them. Therefore, if you have a bad apple within the bunch, it's going to rub off on everybody. Anybody who is underperforming needs to be cut off. But now let me elaborate on that. I'm not saying that if you hire someone and, it's taking them time to get good. It does take time to get good. It does take time to develop talent. Nobody's born perfectly, but how they react and what their actions looks like and their output is going to determine, if this guy is going to be a perfect fit. Therefore, if he's making 100, 200, 300 calls, a day or a week, and you see him clearly putting in the effort, he's putting in the work, you can work with that. You can actually start seeing, okay, what are you saying in these calls? What does your tone sound like? How do you communicate? And we can fix these problems. But if someone is lazy and they're not making 100 calls, they're not making the 300 calls or 400 calls, or they're not doing enough outreach, or they're not even showing the work on time, those are bad habits. Because high performers, they're going to show up on time. High performers are going to make those calls. High performers are going to get it done. They're going to make the adjustments. People who can't hold themselves accountable will never do this because they don't see them themselves as the source of the problem, which they are. And then another problem is a lot of people get comfortable. Comfort kills momentum. If conversations never get uncomfortable, growth isn't happening. Growth requires calling things out, saying no, and raising your standards. It sounds simple, but it's not, because think about this. There's only a certain amount of time in a day. You work 8 to 12 hours a day. You sleep for 8 hours a day. You commute home there and back to work for maybe an hour to 45 minutes. So you don't have as much time that you think. So therefore, the free time that you have, you need to be very precise and figure out, okay, these are the type of conversations that I want to have, and this is what I need to do. For example, let's say it's Friday night, you just got off work. Are you going to go out with your boys to the bar and get shit-faced drunk? Or are you going to go home and make that content and come up with that offer or come up with that product or figure out, there's a gap in the marketplace and I need to be right in between that gap. I need to be the middleman. Which one are you going to do? And it's going to affect your future because the people that are winning at the top, the people who have separated themselves and learn, I need to focus on what moves the needle. I need to focus. I need to make these calls. I need to post this type of content. I need to work on this AI program the way I can implement it into businesses and make it easier for them to scale. These are the people that is going to make a shit ton of money. It's not the fact that they're better than you. It's not the fact that they're born in a better circumstances. None of that shit. It's about focus. You cannot lose if you are focused. You cannot fail. And if you think you are failing, if you're trying, that's not a failure. You're going through lessons. It's growing pains. When you start feeling anxious, like, I'm scared to make this call. I'm scared to do this cold call. I'm scared to send out this email. I'm scared to walk inside this business and talk to their sales employees and do my pitch. That's the type of growing pains that you want. If you're not having these growing pains, therefore, you're stuck in the same place. In order to get better, you have to do more and you have to get your feet wet. You have to jump out in the water. That's why you're anxious, because you've never done it, and that's good. You want these type of feelings. You want that. You want that, like, oh man, I don't even know if I can pick up the phone. Yesterday, I got on 3 sales calls. I woke up at 3 a.m. and I did the sales calls myself, and I was talking to Dubai business owners, and it was the best thing ever for me. I was nervous as shit. I was scared. I was in my head like, I'm not sure what I'm going to say, and I did it. And it felt good. And maybe they didn't take my offer, but each one of those business owners told me the idea was great. The idea was great, but I need to work on my pitch. Shit was crazy. It was literally crazy. I'm literally talking to people in Dubai at 3 a.m. in the morning, and there's people out here who's scared to pick up a camera or pick up their phone and post content to make money. You can do it. I promise you can do it. But you have to hold yourself accountable. You have to put in some work, and you have to just let your fucking nuts hang. Get up and go make it happen, bro. And what's cool about this, once you start talking about serious things or real problems or real business ideas, people typically start to remove themselves from the conversation. They start to Go back and be like, ah, man, I don't want to talk about the reason why I'm broke. I don't want to talk about sales and marketing because I want to talk about the fucking football game and that the Dallas Cowboys beat the fucking Eagles. Who gives a shit, right? Who cares? Like I don't care. Once you start having these type of conversations, you can be like, ah, this person's not serious. Or they will try to get a reaction out of you and they'll say like, oh, you didn't hear me. Did you hear me? Yeah, I heard you, but that doesn't fucking matter at this point. We have to get fucking rich. There's people walking around in fucking riding around in Ferraris, Bugattis. They're not worried about bills. They're not worried about groceries. They're able to take care of their mom. They're able to take care of their grandmother, take care of their family, and they're living life. They're not going to a fucking corporate job and being fucking stressed out every day and having to do the same shit every day and make the same type of income year per year, or you only see a 3% raise. I literally had someone walk in into my job and try to tell me, hey guys, y'all need to work harder, therefore you can get a 3% raise. What the fuck is 3% going to do for me? What is that going to do? What is 3%? What is that? What is 3%? What is a 3% raise? Therefore, when that person walked in, and this was probably like 3 years ago, I understood I need to get to fucking work. Because if I am pulling 80 hours, 40 hours a week, every day I'm going above and beyond. I'm doing everything, and you're telling me at the end of the year I can get a 3% raise? The fuck is that? The fuck am I gonna do with that? What is that? Inflation is increasing higher than that shit every day. You can't even go to the grocery store without spending $100. So at that point, I knew I have to make something out of my life, and I'm not gonna let anybody get in my fucking way. No one. No one is bigger than the program. No one is bigger than my goals. No one is ahead of my dreams and my business. I'm going to put my business first. That's what I'm going to do. And once you do that, you start to move with certainty. You start to move just like it's almost robotic. You keep attacking. You don't have time to waste, and people start to realize this. And either A, they fall off and they stop hitting you up, or B, they jump on board. And the people who jump on board, those are the people that you want. You want them fucking dogs around you. You want people who are getting after it. Same boat, same thought process, same frequency. Those are the people that you want on your team. Demons. Hey, man, I'm trying to tell you because you are who you hang around. So if you're around people who talk about money, talk about marketing, talk about psychology, talk about posting content, coming up with products and ideas and services to generate extra income, you will eventually start doing it. It's just a matter of time. But if you're around people who talk about bullshit all day, complain, out of shape, fat, do drugs, wake up late, never wake up on time, they can't take control of their life, they struggle with relationships, they can't talk to girls, I mean, you're going to be that. Sad to say, you might not be that tomorrow or the next day, but eventually, once you keep hanging around them over a period of time, you will become that. So the choice is yours. Comment down below. How do you feel about this video, man? I really want to inspire people to do better, do more, take action, less thinking, more working. That's what I want. I want everybody to win this year, but we have to put in some fucking work, some serious work.